This is the Sony A9 III, and Sony has packed a ton of features into this camera, and this is also the world's first full-frame global shutter in a small mirrorless body. So in this video, I want to go through some of the features that are the most exciting about this camera, and also how this camera stacks up for a video shooter, because this has a lot of features that are specifically geared towards photographers. However, this is a hybrid camera, and this is one of those cameras that's going to appeal to a lot of video shooters. All right, let's get into it. So I'm out here at Sony Creative Space, and Sony brought a bunch of different creators to New York to be able to test this camera. So I was able to take this camera out on my own yesterday mid-morning, and there was a few things set up for us to shoot, but then also we got to just go explore the city and play around with it. So this is very much a first look into this camera and just my initial impressions and some of the features that you have access to. But actually being able to hold this camera and shoot with it and film with it in some different settings really shows the potential of what you could do. And for me, I'm excited to actually bring this camera with me on an adventure and really try this out when I'm out making one of my films. But the first thing that we have to talk about is the global shutter, because this is revolutionary. All cameras that we're currently working with have a rolling shutter, unless you're working with like some high-end cinema camera. But the difference between a global shutter and a rolling shutter is that on a global shutter, all of the pixels are recorded at the same time. Whereas on a rolling shutter, it records the pixels from top to bottom in sequence. And the technology in rolling shutters has gotten really good, where the time it takes to scan from the top to the bottom is very minimal. However, it is still noticeable and it causes some issues depending on the way that you're shooting. So for photographers, you're going to have issues with your flash, and you're going to have issues with sync speed. For video shooters, when you do things like whip pan, or you're shooting a fast-paced scene out of a car window, you're going to see this jello effect where the top is not perfectly in sync with the bottom. And this is because it scans the image top to bottom when it's recording. Now, one of the big places for video shooters that you see this is handheld footage. And this is why handheld footage in a film looks so different than if you're to pick up a camera with a rolling shutter, because you have this jello effect with any camera that has a rolling shutter. And so with the global shutter, you don't have that. So I shot a lot of this footage without any stabilization on this camera to get that more cinematic handheld feel. I was shooting on a 50mm 1.4, and it's just such a different look than you'll get on other cameras because you don't have any of the jiggle, and you can have a lot more of this chaotic motion in your footage if that's a style that you want, and you don't have to worry about your footage having a wobbly look like you'll see on most other cameras. All right, now I'm just going to switch over to hand holding this camera so we can see what this global shutter looks like in this kind of a setting. When it comes to the global shutter, some of the other things that unlocks is the ability to shoot flash sync at all speeds. So if you're a photographer, you don't have to worry about your shutter speed when you're using a flash. Also, this camera could shoot at 1/80,000th of a second, so it can really freeze action. And this is huge for any sports photographers out there, anyone who's shooting any sort of action. And this is going to be a massive feature that allows you to really just freeze anything in motion. And also this camera can shoot at 120 frames per second when you're shooting photos. And so you really get to capture the moment. And with that, you have a pre-shooting mode. So the camera will be automatically taking photos. And then when you hit the shutter button, it's going to take a period of photos before you press the shutter button, so you never miss the action. So if you're shooting sports or you're shooting animals and something happens, you click the shutter, well, you're going to start taking photos at that moment, but also you capture photos from before that moment to whatever settings you have set up on your camera. But what's really cool about the photo mode is that if you don't want to shoot in 120 frames per second, well, there's a new button that's called a speed boost mode. And so you could be shooting at 20 frames per second, click this button, and it instantly jumps over to 120 frames per second for photos. So it's really useful so that you can make sure that when something is happening, that you could switch over to burst mode real quick and all of a sudden get 120 frames to choose from so that you never miss that specific moment. So for me as a video shooter, those features are great. However, there are some major things in this camera that's specifically geared towards video creators. Now, the first thing is the redesign of the body. So the hand grip feels much better in your hand when you're holding it compared to other Sony cameras. And it just felt really good shooting handheld with this camera in a variety of situations. Also, the grip feels a little bit softer than other cameras. So it's nice to hold this camera and be able to shoot with it for long periods of time. Now, for video, you could shoot at 4K up to 120 frames per second, 10-bit 422. And with that, there's no crop. So there's no compromise with this camera when it comes to your frame rates and resolution. And if you are someone who wants more data out of this camera, well, you could shoot 16-bit RAW out of the full-size HDMI. So in terms of frame rates and resolutions, you have everything in this camera up to 4K 120 frames per second. And you're not reducing quality and you're not dealing with any sort of cropping when you do switch it to these higher frame rate modes. Now, in terms of overheating in this camera, it's not something I've been able to test yet. And also, I'm working with a pre-production model, so there will be some changes in firmware updates between now and when this camera is released. But one of the things I'm curious about is, will this camera overheat when you're shooting 10-bit 422, 120 frames per second? However, that's something that definitely need to test, like go out into the desert and shoot with this for longer periods of time. Now for creators, you have the flip screen where you could face yourself, do this vlog style content, get a great looking shot, but you also have the tilt screen built in. So it's kind of that mix of tilt plus also flip, which just gives you more flexibility to shoot this in a variety of different ways. Now, this camera also comes with Sony's AI processor, so you're going to get super fast autofocus. You're going to be able to focus on a variety of subjects. And I've really had no issues with the autofocus working with this camera, especially when I'm shooting in handheld mode at an f1.4. And one of the cool things with this AI processor is whether you're filming someone like this, where you can see their face, or they have a helmet on, or they're kind of turned away from you, the autofocus is going to stay locked on because it can detect human movements. It could detect where someone's eye is, but it also could do that for animals. So it can lock on to an animal's eye so that you never miss the shot and miss your focus. And another big thing for me as a video shooter is the stabilization. So there's standard, there's active, but also included in this camera is the dynamic active. And so super stable. You have 8 stops of internal stabilization. So when you're handhold walking with this camera, you could get gimbal-like shots. Now, it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to look identical to a gimbal. However, there's definitely situations where you don't want to set up a full gimbal rig, and be able to just handhold this camera and know that you're going to be able to get stable shots is a great tool to have inside this camera. It's something I use all the time with my ZV-E1, and so I'm glad to see that this dynamic active stabilization is in this camera as well, and it works super well. You can see as I'm tracking through this shot here, it looks super stable. And this is walking over an uneven surface and just hand holding the camera like this. Now, one thing that's interesting about this camera that I noticed is that when you're shooting an S-Log3, your base ISO is 2000 ISO. And so this is much higher than other cameras. And I don't know if this is something to do with the global shutter, but you definitely need to have stronger ND when you're out filming, be able to bring your exposure down to get proper motion blur, if that's something that you care about. Now with that, this camera is not a dual native ISO camera, so you only have one base ISO at 2000. And so here's just a quick test that I did running through all the different ISOs to be able to see the noise performance as you climb higher in the ISO range. highest you go in this camera is 25,600. And I shot a bunch of footage at 25,600 to really test this because I'm curious how the global sensor really handles dynamic range and also how it handles the noise performance. And this is something that I think we're going to see more and more as there's more tests that come out around this camera. But overall, just by shooting last night with this camera, its performance does look pretty solid. And because of this higher base ISO, you do have a little bit better noise performance in these higher ranges because you're not starting at, say, 800, you're starting at 2000. But again, this is something that I definitely want to do some more testing around. Overall, I think this is a great hybrid camera that's going to appeal to both photographers and filmmakers. However, it's not a tool that you have to have. If you saw the movie The Creator recently, they shot that on the FX3, which has a rolling shutter, and that film looks fantastic. So it's something like a global shutter is just another tool for the toolkit, but it's really a look into the future of where the technology is going with these cameras. That global shutter is going to open up so much more potential and just make it even easier to shoot in a variety of settings. For me personally, this is an awesome camera. It's no compromise, has everything that I could want out of a camera, and I don't have to worry about things like the image cropping in when I'm going into higher frame rates. And so this definitely could become a one camera solution that could work in a variety of settings. And it's something that I want to test more and really take this out and shoot a full documentary with it to really see how this camera can perform working on a much bigger project. But I'd love to know your thoughts about this camera down below in the comments. And if you want to see more information and more features that this camera has, I'll include a link down below in the description so you can check it out. And next, you should check out this video right here, which goes through a ton of tips how you could use any camera to be able to get some cinematic looking footage when you're shooting outdoor and adventure style videos. I'll see you over there. And it's freezing, so I need to get out of here.